Hello everyone. I'm excited to have you back and welcome back to Money Conversations with Magical. So finally, the biggest IPO in East Africa after Safaricom has finally closed doors. I'm talking about the KPC IPO. I've spoken about it in my previous video, and if you haven't had a look at that, you can find time to have a listen in. So, but if you've been watching news, you'll agree with me that it wasn't a smooth ride for that IPO. A lot of things happened. First, there was the last minute extension by the government. Then there was the major power move by Uganda. And there was the High Court ruling that could have actually stopped everything. So a lot of things went into play during this time. So let's dive in and see. Actually, was the IPO oversubscribed or not oversubscribed? Secondly, why did the government give an extension? And thirdly, what is the next step for investors who managed to get some shares? So let's start with the elephant in the room, the extension. So the initial IPO was supposed to end on 19th of February in the evening, but the government through Capital Market Authority extended that deadline to the 24th of February. So the official word from the Privatization Authority was that this was meant for inclusivity that they wanted retail investors like you and I to have more time to purchase into these shares. But whispers in the market say that that was not the case, because as at 19th of February, only 20% of the shares that were up for grabs had been taken up. So what led to this slow take-up of the IPO to start with? The first thing that came into play was the valuation disputes. Most analysts felt that the price per share, which was 9 shillings, was very steep. So they felt that was the share was trading at a price that was higher than actually it should have been trading. The second reason that led to the slow uptake was the court case. So there were all these small petitions that were taken to High Court, and hence most people were not comfortable putting their money into a situation that is already in court. There was all this legal battle, and hence most people were still waiting to see what happens. So those are the two key things that led to the slow uptake of the KPC IPO. But believe you me, tides changed, and tides changed in a way that nobody expected. Just as it was winding down, the Uganda government through its UNOC. UNOC is the Uganda National Oil Company. I think they just sat down and they were like, oh, we get 95% of our fuel through this pipeline. Why should we risk some private interest to disrupt that supply? And so they ended up buying a massive 20.15 stake in the KPC. So you see now the dynamics have changed. With that, it means that the Uganda government through the UNOC has a great say in the company. It means that they have the power to appoint directors into the board. Actually, the Uganda government has veto powers. Veto powers means they have the right to stop certain things. They have veto powers on things like the tariffs, the tariffs that are put therein. They have veto powers on things like dividend payout. They have veto powers on even assets. They even have veto powers on things like firing and hiring major and top leadership of that organization, because it means so much for them. So that therefore means that KPC stops just being a strategic asset for Kenya, but now it becomes a regional asset. It becomes an asset that even Uganda has a big say. So in essence, what happened in the last minute was what is called institutional rescue. Institutions, major institutions like the banking institutions, the insurance firms, and the regional partners like Uganda came and mopped up those shares, and hence they were able to rescue the day for that IPO. So the question is, what next? If you manage to buy some shares online, what is the next step? There are 3 dates that are very key for you. Number 1 is March 4th. Let me confirm. Yeah, March 4th is a very important day for you. Then there's March 6th and March 9th. So on March 4th, what's going to happen is that there'll be announcement of the allocation results. So if you applied for the shares, on March 4th, you'll be able to know how much shares you will receive. If at all you receive 100%, you will know. And if you'll not receive 100%, you'll be able to know on 4th of March. That's when the allocation announcement will be done. Then moving on to March 6th, the electronic, they'll credit your CDS account electronically if you've gotten the shares at the allocation. So if you remember the CDS account we were saying you need to open in my previous video, so they will allocate now your shares into those accounts. And if you've not gotten the 100% of the shares you applied for, you will get a refund. So the refund will start being processed on that particular day. That is on March 6th. Then moving on swiftly, March 9th, we've said it's also a very important day. This is when the listing and trading will begin in the Nairobi Stock Exchange, because as you know now, the IPO, you cannot buy those shares through the initial public offer. You can now only buy through the Nairobi Stock Exchange once the listing is done on 9th of March. So 9th of March is also a very key date to note, because after then the listing has happened, the bell has rung, anything could happen. The market will now determine the price of that share. It's no longer about the valuers and whatnot. It's about the market. What does the market feel about this share? So it could go down, it could remain at the same price, it could go up. But the question is, just what do you think will happen? What is your fear? If at all you got some shares, if at all you purchased some shares, just comment on the link below and tell me, what do you feel? Do you remain positive, or what is your feeling? But all said and done, the market will determine the price of that share after the 9th. So ladies and gentlemen, if you manage to buy some shares, take note of those 3 dates, because it will determine what happens next for you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day, and consider subscribing so that you don't miss on the future videos on money matters. Thank you.